The modern-day Roma people are misconceptualized in a number of ways, the most obvious of which is the name by which they are referred: gypsies. The word gypsy itself, aside from being a pejorative term, comes from the incorrect assumption by many Europeans that Roma peoples were from Egypt. This assumption came most likely from Roma claiming to be the dukes and duchesses of Little Egypt. Whatever the case, little effort is made by much of Europe to be politically correct or cordial towards the Roma. The modern topic of the Roma experience seems to only have been brought to the forefront of discussions recently by the growing Roma populations in Western European nations such as France, Spain, and the UK. The reality, however, is that in Eastern Europe, there is a much higher concentration of Roma populations. Of the top 5 nations most inhabited by Romani, only one of them is in Western Europe. Turkey, Romania, Bulgaria, Spain, and Russia have all seen high increases in Romani population in the recent past. In Romania and Bulgaria, the 2 nations most commonly associated with the Romani people, the populations are comprised of over 10% Romani. But where then did the Romani originate? All DNA evidence points to specific areas in modern-day northern India and parts of Pakistan. Their language and traditions certainly follow those of their Hindi predecessors. The Roma people moved from their original home in India into Afghanistan, Persia, Iraq, and most of the Fertile Crescent, and then eventually split between Turkey and up into Eastern Europe, but also down through the Holy Lands and into Egypt and North Africa. The vast history of Romani migration points to the various hardships that they have endured in their new homes, and just how unwelcome they are throughout Europe and elsewhere. Over the past few years, the European Union has taken a large shift to the right, with Austria, Denmark, France, and the UK all electing anti-immigration parties. In the UK specifically, the political targeting of the Romani people has been a local and international phenomenon. In reference to the Roma people, Nigel Farage, the leader of the UK Independent Party, exclaimed to the European Union, "We don't want those people coming into our country." It can be seen on the local level in instances like those where British officials such as David Blunkett call for the Roma to literally change their culture because it caused tensions. Professor Yaron Matras, a Roma expert at the University of Manchester, points out that this is almost unheard of with other ethnic groups in the UK, but is made easy by the weak state of the Roma people, paired with the historically negative depictions of their people. But why is there an influx of Romani into the UK and Western Europe? The answers lie back in the East. The easiest places to witness Roma hardship are places like Slovakia, Romania, Bulgaria, Macedonia, and the Czech Republic. In Efori, Romania, after a 6-day notice, Romanian authorities forcefully removed over 100 people from their homes that they had lived in for over 3 decades, bulldozed their houses, and told the families that they could live in an abandoned high school. These stories are easily found throughout Eastern Europe today. In Bucharest, Microdola of the National Liberal Party is calling for a constitutional amendment that would no longer allow Romani people to go by the name Roma, on the pretext that it was confusing Europe and the rest of the world over the origins of the Romani. In Skopje, Macedonia, there is what is considered to be the second largest Roma settlement in the world. With over 30,000 inhabitants, it sits completely separated and isolated from the rest of the city. This sort of isolation is not uncommon throughout Eastern Europe. Throughout Romania, these isolated settlements report over 80% unemployment. This isolation, however, is one of the only things keeping the Romani language intact. The Romani tongue has never been a written language until recently, where Romani dictionaries have begun to sprout up. Instead, the Romani way of passing on traditions and stories is predominantly through dance. The Roma are known to be skilled dancers and street performers with exotic and sometimes dangerous talents. Their amazing culture has helped spawn important people like Bill Clinton, Charlie Chaplin, and even the famous Elvis Presley, all of whom have Romanokal roots in their genetic code. Unfortunately, many also associate the Roma with being distrustful and criminal. For whatever reason, the Roma have never been truly welcome in Europe as long as they have been there. World War II was no different. It is estimated that over 1 million Roma gypsies were murdered in the atrocities that occurred during World War II. Today, many of the same disrespects and denials paid towards the Jewish deaths are shown to the Roma as well. The city of Lety in the Czech Republic was the site of one of the largest mass murders of Romani men, women, and children. Currently, it is covered by a pig farm with no public memorial. The bones of Roma children still sit at the bottom of Lake Schwarzenberg after being drowned by the Czech guards. Those not kept in Lety suffered similar fates when they were sent to Auschwitz-Birkenau on May 13, 1941, which was the largest transportation of Roma to the major death camps. The Roma refer to the Holocaust as Porahomnos, or the devouring in the Romani tongue, and they mention the black of the SS guards in their anthem, Galem Galem. Over the last few years, the Czech Republic has seen a rise in neo-Nazis and other normal citizens attacking or lashing out against the Romani people. They even went so far as to march on a Romani settlement, only to be stopped by armed riot police in the process. Many attempts are being made to crush the culture of the Romani people, and throughout the years they have had to adapt in order to survive. In France, many Roma gather to celebrate the feast of Saint Sarah during the Catholic festival, but they consider her Sarah the Egyptian, as it is thought that she originated from Egypt. They refer to her in the Romani tongue as Kali, which is the Hindu goddess of time and death. This is a perfect example of the length the Roma must go through to adapt, but they also hold on to their own traditions, as in this case, by worshiping a Christian saint in a French Catholic church while referring to her as the Egyptian and calling her by the Hindu word Kali. The Romani have not been given a fair chance in Europe and still face incessant hardships today. Their rich culture, full of dance and song, is being threatened by oppression and political backlash due to misunderstanding and racism. Until the Roma are treated as equals, the ideas that they are criminal and mischievous will continue to circulate. Today, there are several grassroots organizations rising up to the modern challenge of the conservation of the Roma culture, but the Romani people remain the least integrated and the most persecuted people in Europe today.